$49. Kogan.com. Clicking awesome.
Welcome to Saturday League Kickoff.
Well, let's kick off another edition of Saturday League Kickoff, and it's a different edition, isn't it? Because the finals are finally here. So for Fox League viewers and our SEN listeners right across the network, welcome to your Saturday morning. And this music, when you hear this music, you know what, AP?
It's finals time, Sats.
Finals time, the Olympic spirit.
Either that or the Olympics have rolled around early.
Well, soon. But hey, thanks, Pete, for playing that as well. And that's in honour of our good mate Joel Sugarcane, who loves this music. He thinks it should be played at every finals time. And it should be, because it was part of our childhood growing up at the Sydney Football Stadium. You knew that finals time was around when every team didn't get a home semi. They all marched towards the one precinct.
It's like a Pavlovian response. You just know you're salivating. You know big sport's coming.
Yeah, so we've had one result already as the finals get into full swing. Big moments already deciding the game last night. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. The NRLW is into its last round. The Gold Coast Titans, coached by Karen Murphy, they're going to beat the Canberra Raiders this afternoon to make sixth position to play finals this year. And also some clubs have already had Mad Monday, and you journos have been absolutely filthy because your players have been well behaved. There's no urinating in public or whatever it may be, and you haven't had anything to write about. So well done, players.
There's been nothing for me, for us gutter journalists with our telescopic lenses and all that sort of stuff and our little camera phones ready to catch you out. No, it's been good. It's actually focused on the finals as it should be. A
lot of clubs wait for their Mad Monday until their first grade sides have finished finals as well. So a lot of them are a little bit more patient. They're very well orchestrated now, the Mad Mondays. They weren't just a free-for-all like they were in the past.
The big thing is like the dress-ups. Do they still do the dress-ups now?
I was never a dress-up man. I didn't like the dress-up.
You would have come in character at least once or twice.
Yeah,
really.
well, we did actually. In 2003, you had to come as a gangster. Your favourite like rapper, whatever it may be. So that's the only time I've dressed up. But I think I lost most of that clothing by about 1:30 that afternoon.
Did you have the gold chains?
The gold chains, and they're all plastic. Yeah, so that's the only time. There's been a lot of damage over the years on Mad Monday. I'm glad that doesn't happen anymore. Shout out to you, the Penrith hotels around the district. The old log cabin copped an absolute flogging one day. I remember that. Hey, welcome, AP, also, because Webby not here this weekend. What do you love about finals?
You know what? There's a change in the season. Yep. Like the weather gets warmer and the footy gets hotter, and I know it just all of a sudden these players who have been like so tight. Can you imagine the physical toll of a 27-round season? But then they find something else. They just go up further above themselves. And we saw it last night. Like, how good was it? We had players injured. I thought the filling halves were absolutely outstanding. And just the pace of the game, it's almost Origin-esque.
You know, finals exposes players and exposes teams, but it also creates players as well. You know, players that haven't played a major role throughout the year, then all of a sudden, during the finals, they play this major role. And we saw one last night when it came to the Bulldogs. We're going to talk about and a whole lot more. We love your interaction throughout the next 2 hours as well. Whether you're watching on Fox League or whether you're listening through SEN, 0457 736 736 is the number if you want to text the show. And also 1300 01 1170. We love hearing your calls. We love hearing your voice wherever you're calling from. Darwin, Adelaide, Melbourne, the ACT, New South Wales, Queensland, even our listeners in New Zealand. You got a massive game on this afternoon up against the reigning premiers as well. Now, before we talk about what's coming up on the show, I do need to also send our prayers and condolences to the Fafita family, AP. Throughout the week, Dave Fafita lost his father, who has played an integral role in his life as well. He put out a post on social media last night just about the hole in the heart that's going to be there that never gets filled, unfortunately, when you lose someone who's so important to you in your family or in your life. So prayers and condolences to Dave and his family. If anyone is out there and just in the background, the TV is on, whatever it may be, you've got other things you've got to focus on at the moment. But our thoughts and prayers are with you, Dave, and the family.
And that puts all of that contractual stuff, everything else into its proper perspective too.
Goes into the background for now. Yeah, absolutely. Well said, AP. So let's get into what we are going to talk about today. Outside of our prayers and condolences for Dave and his family is the Friday night footy review. Last night, what a game, the way that it played out. Big news of the week, there's Coaches Corner. A lot of movement in coaches world as well, whether it's here, UK Super League, the effects it could have on the PNG bid as well. around that. Also, Turbo, the news throughout the week, there's reports he's looking for a possible team in the Super League, the Betfred UK Super League. I can't see that ever happening.
It's not going to happen.
It's a shot over the bow.
I think that's you better respect us in these negotiations with Manly, or we have a plan B. But Manly also have an issue with the way some of their greatest players have departed too, like Daly Cherry Evans. Like that leaves a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. We've had other players that have moved on, like Glenn Stewart, etc. over the years. They don't do that very well, that final back end of their career. So hopefully they've learnt from those mistakes and they get a deal done with Turbo and also his brother. Like that's a really interesting watch, and we'll talk more about that later on.
And movement from, when we talk about the coaches circle, movement from there with Mick Innes to the Dragons as well. We're going to touch on that. Also, the weekend matches, the 3 big weekend matches this week as well. And for Loopym, the breakout players for 2025. Now, which player... This is the non-finals teams, okay? The 9 teams that haven't played finals or won't be playing finals. Who's been the breakout player for your club? You'd have to support one of those clubs. Just what's been your observations from the outside looking in out of those 9 teams? The breakout player, 0457 736 736 is the number. Or give us a call, 1300 01 1170 is the number. The breakout player. So it doesn't have to be a rookie. It could be a player that's played first grade and for whatever reason, they've had a breakout season in their career.
That's so important because those teams that are missed out, those fans need something to look forward to. And the guys that we've discussed, they're going to give them that for 2026.
Exactly. A lot to look forward to. Like a team that's in the finals currently, but a breakout player would be Robert Toya.
Yeah, 100%.
Mark Nwanganitawasi.
Hugo Savala.
Hugo.
He's on a development deal. He's on $85,000. He's stuck behind Chad Townsend and Sandon Smith. All of a sudden, he's in a final series.
Yeah, I know. You know, it's funny. I was talking to some people throughout the week about Hugo, and at the start of the year, he looked like a kid that couldn't fill out his jersey. He's too tall. He's too tall for his position, apparently, and he looked like a kid that was just finding his way. Now, when I watched him last week, he just looks like he's strutting he's got a different strut about him. He's filling out his jersey. He's playing a major role in the team. He's just a completely different athlete.
He's one of those guys, really annoying blokes that's good at everything. So he's at school, he could play rugby, he could play AFL, cricket, he was a fast bowling all-rounder. Ultimately, thankfully, he decided that rugby league and the Roosters is the way to go. Yeah,
so if he stays at the Roosters and if Daly Cherry Evans is going to go there, or if there's word is Daly Cherry Evans may just coach in some capacity, that means Hugo's going to be the main man next year for Sam Walker. If he's not, it becomes a massive target for 2027 for a club also. And every Saturday, we love to do the spotlight, so let's get into that right now.
The Spotlight.
AP, you're off first. What's your spotlight?
I'm really looking forward to the battle of the fullbacks on Sunday, Reece Walsh and KO Weeks. Now, KO Weeks was a borderline first grader at Manly. Over 2 seasons, he only played 12 games. He's come and played under Ricky Stewart. He's now absolutely elite to the point where potentially he could be on a kangaroo tour if he has a big final series.
He's a Kiwi bud, isn't he?
No, I think he's said that he wants to play for the Kangaroos, so, which is huge. And then, of course, there's Reece Walsh, who is an out-and-out superstar. And I did a piece on him a couple of weeks ago. The thing that I find really interesting about Reece Walsh is, to the untrained eye, it looks like he's just doing it all off the top of his head. But speaking to him and Michael Maguire, they say he's a real footy head. Like he studies the game, all the things that look like they're off the cuff. He actually practices a lot at training, which you wouldn't think so.
I love hearing that about Reece Walsh. You interview a lot of players, the modern day players, and you say, "How much rugby league do you watch outside of your games?" He goes, a lot of them will say none.
They're too cool for
I
school.
watch NBA, NFL, whatever it may be. I love it when you talk to players like Reece and they just live and breathe it. They are addicted to the game.
Yeah.
And you have to be. You have to be obsessed.
A good example was Billy Slater. Like Craig Bellamy would say to him, "Mate, you can do whatever you want on the footy field as long as you've practiced it 100 times at training." And I think it's a little bit the same. Like Madge and Reece have actually struck up a good relationship, and that's why he's allowed the freedom that he shows us on the footy field.
Yep, exactly. I remember interviewing Craig Bellamy once, and before Billy had become a coach, and it wasn't long after the 3 had retired, the big 3, and I said, out of the big 3, who would be the coach? And he said, Cam will be a coach one day.
Yep.
But Cam likes to work his life out first, and sort of his family's very important to him, and so it should be. And he said Cooper will be involved in coaching straight away, but more from a a specialist coaching point of view, he said Billy could coach in the NRL the moment that he retired.
Yep.
That's how great he was with the game. Is the way that he looked at the game. Yeah, so I love that about players.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Reece Walsh, well done. Bulldogs, they missed 61 tackles last night. We're going to talk about this game in greater detail, but it took an intercept to beat them. I mean, they were still in the game to the dying moments after missing 61 tackles. Now, I know a lot of those, it was some stats on NRL stats.
Yep.
If I run the ball up and I bounce out of a tackle, a lot of clubs won't count that as a missed tackle. They say it's ineffective, but it's not a miss. But 61 tackles either way is in finals footy should never happen.
Yep.
And to miss 61 tackles and be not that far away from winning the game against Melbourne in Melbourne means that the Bulldogs actually aren't far away.
That statistic isn't as relevant as it used to be, and we were talking about it off air. The Bulldogs the last couple of seasons have been one of the best defensive sides, but they miss a lot of tackles.
Yep.
But their first point of contact is usually quite strong, and they scramble really well. And we saw that so many times. Just some of those little efforts. Like I look at like Josh Curran and that little push that he put on just as Pezzett was kicking, and he's kicked it on the full. Like just those little 1% things. That's why I think the Bulldogs have still got a lot of hope in this competition, because their style of play is ready-made for finals footy. High completions, kick chase, rushing up in defence, all those little areas. They're the things they do well.
Super fit. Stay in the fight when you're super fit at the back end of the season as well. They've got a few injuries, concerns. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. As I might just ask Raddy, our producer, to turn that open button off, which opens up the line. Hey, let's talk about for Temper, a great night's sleep with Temper. The difference is Temper, and we're going to get to our best player who would have had a really good night's sleep last night. We're going to talk about that game. 26 points to 18. The Storm got it late with a Will Warbrick intercept. Now the Bulldogs will face the winner of the Warriors and the loser of the Warriors and the Panthers, I should say. But it was a hectic game, wasn't it? They interviewed Jonah Pezzett at half time.
Yeah.
And
he was blowing.
He was absolutely blowing a go. Like it was a hectic pace. Now, before we talk about that game, let's listen to what the winning coach Craig Bellamy had to say about the performance.
Probably having a few mixed feelings at the moment. I thought we really started the game well, but I thought we lost our way with the ball a bit. I think what hung us in today's game was our defence. I thought that really improved, but I just thought we struggled a bit with our attack. Not quite sure why. Just like a bit of communication was out there for a bit. It's really nice to be in another prelim, and I think the nicest thing, especially for the players at this time of year, they get a week off. A week off playing. That's the thing that hopefully we can use well, and freshen up a little bit. For 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I've never been a big believer of freshening up towards the end of the season, because I've been a big believer. Maybe this is just a little bit more old school than modern game and science that plays a role, but getting momentum leading into the finals is really important. But the week off during finals, I mean, that's a godsend. Absolute godsend it is.
Especially after 27 rounds, bashed up. That was a tough game for both sides.
Absolutely.
The Dogs have got to pick themselves up. I thought they did well to do that, because they were rattled when Kikau went off early. So you could see, that very first set of the game, there was a nice shift right. They had a good kick chase. And as soon as he's on the deck, you could see for the next 5 or 6 minutes, they struggled. He's one of their leaders, and emotionally, but they somehow just scrambled, kept defending their line, and stayed in the game. I thought it was terrific. Yeah,
they're well coached. I mean, it's no surprise that Cameron Ciraldo had a lot to do with the Panthers' success.
Yeah.
And he's taken that to the Bulldogs, and they're having some success based on where they've come from, the Bulldogs. They're having success at the moment. And as a team, you want to win the comp, of course, but they're heading in the right direction.
And the stability off the field's really important. So they've just locked in Cameron Ciraldo, Gus Gould, Stephen Crichton's very close to re-signing. And this is a club that you think about how volatile things can be off the field. So because of the way their corporate structure and governance is set up, you only need 110 disgruntled members to sign a petition, and they can overthrow the board. And we've seen it happen in the past. That Canterbury boards have been rolled in the past, but all of that has quietened down. They've put all those key building blocks in place. it looks like it's set up for success long term.
There's nothing more than a great debate about the Parramatta and Bulldogs boards over the years. Now, on this game, the bench for the Melbourne Storm, amazing. Tui Kamikamica, Alec McDonald, of course, Lasardi, and Tyron Wishart.
Yep.
Started from the bench. It was a perfect call by Craig Bellamy and his coaching team to start with Jonah Pezzett. He was the difference. His kicking game was the difference last night.
How good were they filling halfbacks?
Yeah.
And then Sexton coming in
Yep.
a lot earlier than everyone expected. I thought he was terrific as well.
Tyron Wishart scoring the winning try in a tied defensive outfit. He's been doing that a fair bit this year, coming on and scoring the key try in the game as well. So uncharacteristic errors are still going to hurt the Storm. They're still not in a real rhythm.
No.
They're not in the flow that we've seen them, and they've had a lot of injuries throughout the year as well. Now, there was a talking point out of the game. We saw Cameron Munster. He came rolling out of a tackle. Some pressure put on the back of his foot from Jamin Salmon. Craig Bellamy was asked about that in the post-match interview.
Yeah, I don't think it's great, but I don't think I don't think it's anything too serious. He was just talking to me about it then, so he said it's really sore, but he'll be right.
I didn't think it was a hip drop. There's a difference between a hip drop where the player plays a role in the pressure of the back of the leg, or there's one where you just lose momentum. I thought he just lost momentum.
You would hate to miss a preliminary final over that. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah. Now, Nico Hines was handed a one-game suspension after round 27. Of course, that was ultimately overturned and downgraded, which was the right decision. Now, Cameron Ciraldo, he's got another week. He's going to be watching today's game with interest between the Warriors and the Panthers. He'll play the loser of that game. The winner, of course, gets another week off and is one more step closer to a grand final appearance. Cameron Ciraldo on his team performance.
I think firstly it's one of the bravest performances I've seen or been involved in. We lost kicks early for a bit there, and then we lost Critter, and then we lost Anari later on, and not much was going our way, but geez, they were brave. Just incredibly proud of how they prepared and how they played. But the main thing is right now that our guys get recovered. That was a brutal game. Recover physically and emotionally and get ourselves ready to go next week.
So there is a scenario now with Stephen Crichton potentially out, Bronson Sherry coming back. Bulldog Bob on the text line says, Bulldogs backline for next week if Critter and Tuali are out. Tracy, Carraz, Bronson Sherry right centre because he normally plays left. Burton left centre, I agree with that. He gets to run the ball. Now he's just being brought in just to kick the ball now. I think Lockie Galvin's taken a lot of time off Matty Burton, where Toby Sexton would feed the ball early and he could use his running game. And then Montoya may be back as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of talk that he could
I was
be back.
listening to the Montoya's podcast this morning, and he said he might be back. Lockie Galvin and Toby Sexton, halfback Bulldog Bob, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Toby Sexton, the way that he came on the field last night, just inject it, take the try out of it. For whatever reason, he pushes up in support. He's just a little energizer bunny, and what he does is I think he just releases Matty Burton as well, or whoever's playing 5'8". He doesn't try and overplay his hand. So that could be the way it could play out. Now, through to another preliminary final. I don't like using preliminary. I use grand final qualifier for the Storm. 10th grand final qualifier appearance in 11 years.
Extraordinary.
Insane. And the Bulldogs, as we said, they'll play. So it's going to be the loser out of the Warriors and the Panthers game, won't it?
The winner.
The winner.
Yep.
The winner of the Panthers and Warriors game.
Which, in a way...
That is too, yeah. Sorry.
This could really open up for the Panthers.
We're so used to seeing the Panthers in the top four. They're getting a double bite at the cherry.
Again, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yep.
But if the Panthers get through this up against a dog side that's a little bit beaten up, that end part of the draw has really opened up. And all of a sudden, like a team that was coming stone motherless last after 12 rounds, they're in it up to their eyeballs again.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about that, the art of patience.
Yeah.
And also confidence with coaching and Ivan Cleary and the situation they were in. Yeah, you are right, Windsor Warrior. I got that wrong. I'm so used to seeing the Panthers in the top four. They get 2 bites. Now, a great night's sleep thanks to Temper, night after night. That's the difference. The difference is Temper. So the player last night that would have slept well, who are we thinking? It's got to be Stefano, hasn't it?
Wasn't he amazing? Oh, he was so good.
So 17 runs, 170 metres, 34 tackles, no misses, 14 tackle breaks, and he had 4 offloads, and one of them ended up ultimately being the offload that Tyron Wishart scores the winning try.
It was the work that he did for coming out of his own end that I thought was most impressive. And he's just come back a different player after Origin. So, yeah, unbelievable.
0457 736 736. We love your text messages. So, Dogs fans, let us know. What do you think about the performance last night? Are you still confident that you can take out this season? What does your backline look like with the injuries as well, like Bulldog Bob has alluded to? Have your say. If you want to give us a call, 1300 01 1170. This is Saturday League Kickoff. More after the break. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Saturday League Kickoff. Sats and AP are in the chairs for a Saturday morning, and we love the finals. Plenty to play out this weekend, and I've got to say there's plenty of very passionate Bulldogs fans. We love the Bulldogs. We love all the fans, but the Bulldogs fans always seem to be the most passionate. I've got to say the Bulldogs and the Dragons fans always the most passionate when it comes to giving your opinion. Some we can't read out. Some we're going to try and get to as well.
A little bit too passionate.
Yeah, Tracy, Montana, Sherry, Curaz in the centres, Jeffro on the wing, Burton, Sexton in the halves, Galvin 14. Kel from Lithgow says. So the one thing the Bulldogs have got with the injuries are choices. They've got really good choices. I'd be apprehensive about using Curaz in the centres. I think his kick returns are too important. His sort of tackle 2, tackle 3, the offload. Yep. I think it's too important. Hey, this Saturday League Kickoff, all thanks to Kogan as well. Welcome to the show, Kogan. Switch to Kogan mobile plan for low price phone plans, kogan.com, and click an awesome. And also Eufy, save time and effort with the E15 robot lawnmower as well. You got any lawn?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
So you should find out about the Eufy robot lawnmower.
Wow.
So do you
I think it's a rite of passage too, because I've been doing it, and now my son is 16 years old now, so I've handed on the baton, and I want him to actually get out there and mow the lawn.
There you go. Well done. And the next one could be the robot lawnmower, where you teach him how to turn it on and make sure you monitor it so it doesn't get stuck up against it.
But it'd do that all automatically. It'd sense when it's...
But he's got to sit there and watch it and ensure that it...
What, with just a Diet Coke or whatever, just sitting there with his...
Whatever it is.
Yeah, beautiful.
Whatever it is, yeah. Have you say 1300 01 1170. As you said, plenty of text we're going to get to. We're also talking about the breakout player for the non-finals teams as well. So the teams that aren't playing finals this weekend, who's been the breakout player? We've got a couple of nominations already just to whet the appetite. Coffs Tiger says Terrell May for the West Tigers. Yeah, Leka Halasima, but they're still in the finals as well. So the non-finals teams, para fullback, Jeremy says, that's Isaiah Yongi. Yeah, he's been a standout, not only with the non-finals teams, but as his Rookie of the Year nominations as well. So at Dally M level. So get your texts in 0457 736 736. Now let's get to some of the big news throughout the week. Coach's Corner and the 2026 Coach's Corner is all around what's happening at Newcastle, some changes at the Dragons as well, a left of field option that could be thrown into the mix. He's always been mentioned as well. So to touch on that, the Newcastle Knights, it looks like it's down to Blake Green.
Yep.
Looks like it's down to Justin Holbrook.
Yep.
And Dean Young. From what I'm led to believe is Dean Young hasn't been interviewed.
Yep.
But Justin Holbrook apparently has or is about to be.
Well, if it comes to the most experienced coach, that's probably him. So he's got 80 games of first grade NRL experience with the Gold Coast Titans. He's got only a 37% win rate during that time, but I'm told he had a really good rapport with the senior players. You remember guys like Tino Fasua-Malawi and also David Fafita actually had clauses in their contract because they wanted to be coached by him. That's obviously left you with a legacy issue to resolve at the Gold Coast Titans, but it speaks a lot to Holbrook.
Yep.
The one that's really left field.
He's not only a great coach, he's a great human.
He's also got some Newcastle DNA in that he played for them as well. And
he destroyed the Broncos one year. I think it was 2000. Just single-handedly destroyed them at Marathon one day.
He only played about half a dozen first-grade games, but I think just being in the region and understanding the supporters, the culture of the place is really helpful for him. Interesting too, Michael Checker's sort of the wild card. So I wrote last week that he was in the mix. He wants to coach the Lebanon side again for this World Cup. He has some experience with the Roosters and has learned a lot from Trent Robinson. He's a real leaguey at heart for someone who's been a former Wallabies coach. So it'll be a really brave decision, and I think that if they did that, they'd have to have some really experienced guys around him with a lot of rugby league knowledge. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
I've heard from all reports a really good coaching brain. Doesn't matter what sport he would be introduced into. He's just got a great philosophy around connecting with the players and also researches the game very well. So it's going to be interesting. The Dean Young one is an interesting one also. Like he's ready and has been ready for a couple of years now. So
well, he was one of the runners up to Jason Ryles for the Parramatta gig. He was interviewed and really impressed everyone there. Wayne Bennett has a really high opinion of him. You speak to Wayne and he'll tell you that he just loves him and thinks he will succeed at whatever he does because he's just so passionate about it. And it'd be interesting to see if he's biding his time at the Dragons too, given Shane Flanagan has just re-signed. We now have a new assistant in the form of Michael Ennis that's coming down there. So
it's not ideal for his progression.
Yeah.
Even though Michael Ennis is going to be, from all reports, still going to keep his role with Fox. So I suppose Dean still sits above the pecking order in the sense of a senior assistant coach. But how that plays out now from a coaching structure wise and what role that both of them will play.
Well, it's interesting because he's had time at the Cowboys.
So
I think it's really important that he hasn't just been in the one system all the way through and he's had different learnings from different people. But does he stay there or does he, to go to the next level, maybe is he either NRL ready now and if he misses out on that gig, perhaps goes to another club and does.
Or does he go Christian Wolf / Justin Holbrook and go to the UK Super League?
Yep.
Get a premiership or a championship or a Challenge Cup over there.
We've seen Willie Peters, like his stocks rise as a result of being over there. Brad Arthur as well. Both of those guys have basically said, we're going to stay and focus on our Super League teams because they're in premiership contention and they don't want the distraction, but certainly their stocks have risen.
One thing I will say about the Knights is the good part, the mature part about this I like is that they haven't jumped at shadows. They're giving themselves time to make a decision rather than just reacting to the scenario and thinking that they've got to make a decision yesterday to appease the members and potential players they want to bring to the club. Take time. They've formed a 5-person committee about the next head coach. And part of that, a really important part of that, is Michael Hagan.
Yes.
Has been a very good coach in his day, premiership winning coach, but also the role that he played with Melbourne Inga in Origin for a lot of years. He identifies really good traits and attributes when it comes to coaching. Yeah.
You talk about going through a process. Early doors, it sounded like they were just going to give the job to Blake Green, but they've actually decided now we're going to step back. And there's really big raps on Blake Green. The players love him, but he's been the attack coach at a side that's really struggled over the last couple of years. It's been last again in attack. But again, we don't know how much he's been hamstrung by the systems around him. So, yeah, really fascinating to see which direction they decide to go.
Really good footy brain, Blake Green.
Yep.
Good connection with Polynesian players, I hear as well.
Yep.
Some of the key players, they do morph towards him when it comes to some of the advice they need as well. But with all due respect, I think Blake needs to spend a little bit more time in a system, another system, under a coach that has some really good structures around what it takes to put the right things in place to get success. So I think Blake Green's just on that. He's on that upward trajectory at the moment, which is really important for your coaching. And don't jump in too early.
Yep.
That'd be my advice anyway. I look at someone like a Ryan Hinchcliffe, who is from the outside looking in, is just ready to coach. But you talk to Ryan, and he sort of himself will say, "In my head's telling me I'm ready to go. My gut's telling me I've probably got another 18 months to sort of keep learning." Yeah,
I remember talking to guys like Tim Sheens and Wayne Bennett, and they say you never know if you're ready, but at some point you've just got to take the leap. So Josh Hannay, he's a guy that's been the next guy up for several coaching jobs, and he was actually in the mix for probably Newcastle. I reckon he probably would have got the Newcastle job if he wanted it. He was very close with Parramatta, and a lot of it's about fit. You know, we saw Jason Ryles. He didn't jump at the first thing. He could have said the easy decision for him would have been Dragons, a club I have an affinity to. I live in Wollongong. I've got all this history here, but it wasn't the right time, the right fit. He's gone to Parramatta. He's done a terrific job.
Yep, absolutely. Well said. Now, Laurie Daly knocks back. So this is the coaching advisor role with Manly.
Yeah.
I reckon Laurie sat back and read the room a little bit. Let's put the news out there, see what the response is going to be. And if it's going to mean more stress as a person like Laurie, who enjoys doing his radio, does the Origin gig as well, why add more stress to your
Laurie
life?
Daly has got enough stress in his life with
Yeah.
the New South Wales Origin team.
Exactly.
Like, that is a big gig.
I think it's a smart move by Laurie. I think it's a really smart move. And Jason Demetrio. So Darren Lockyer and his business partners have bought into the London Broncos, who play in the Championship League. The UK Super League are looking to promote a couple of more teams and maybe drop one back as well.
Well, it could be an astute investment because they're not actually in the top
They're
league
not.
at the moment. And there's been a lot of talk over the last 18 to 24 months about the NRL either buying the Super League or being involved in the governance of it. And when that happens, and I'm sure it will, the stocks of that place will rise as well. So he might be getting in at the ground floor. And it's really interesting with Jason Demetri because he wants to be the next PNG coach, or he's been earmarked as that. He's obviously looks after the Kummels. So what's the better gig? Do you want the Super League club, or do you wait and think in 24 months' time, I'm an NRL coach in a new franchise?
I think the good thing about the UK Super League, they've seen that. I think it's a smart decision by them. Actually, they've seen that the NRL's expanding, and this argument around there's not enough players, high quality players, to fill 2 new teams, possibly 3 new teams. You've got to remember getting to 20. So, what's the next space for players is the UK Super League and rugby.
Yeah.
So the UK Super League says, well, you're not going to come here and pillage our competition and take all our players. So we'll add 2 new teams. So we'll get players from the NRL to come over here.
They've actually lifted their quotas so that more NRL
10 player
players
quotas.
can come over. Yep.
So we're seeing a lot of players. And there's going to be a lot of teams in the UK Super League that are going to be wanting to buy players ASAP to fill their squads when they get advanced.
Before those expansion teams get a hold of them. Yep.
Yeah, so it's smart work by the UK Super League, I think. But on the flip side of that, I think it's a really good opportunity for an NRL team to maybe join with a UK Super League team as a feeder club.
I think every club should have some sort of a feeder type
So
relationship.
if you've got 19, 20, 21-year-old players that probably aren't ready for NRL, they can play State League, which is the New South Wales knock-on effect, or Host Plus Cup in Queensland, or go and play in the UK Super League for 1 or 2 years and cut their teeth that way.
Yep.
So it's a couple options. Now, Tommy Trbojevic, let's get to that quickly before we get to some of the texts as well and get to a break. So what is next? I mean, this is a shot over the bow to say that there is another option there if we want to take it. We don't want to, and based on a weighting category, it's probably 10% interest that we would go to the UK Super League. But the Trbojevics don't see themselves playing against Manly ever.
So there's this real tension there of what is Tom Trbojevic worth? Like, what do we want to pay him without offending him? And he knows that he's going to have to take a pay cut given that he's missed so much football over the last couple of years. One thing that I'd heard, and this has been denied, but the idea of his salary linked to the amount of games he plays.
Yep.
So whether if he plays 10, we pay him this much. If we play 20, he gets this much. So that way, because this is a guy who actually wanted to give back some of his paycheck.
Yep.
He talked about potentially giving it back. So I actually think it would work. I'm not sure if it's going to go down that way. I'm told that he's got something on the table in front of him. The other thing too is you've got Jake, and that's sort of why the Tommy thing's been held up. Jake needs to work out what he wants to do. I get the feeling that this may be Jake's last year. The club have basically said, it's up to you what you want to do. He's got another year on contract. He's had several concussions that have knocked him around, literally. I wouldn't rush into anything with Jake if I was the club.
Yep.
But it's just you don't want to offend him either because he's been such a great stalwart for the Manly Seagulls.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. It'd be one of those, we've seen players over the years, AP, and viewers and listeners, is that, they just don't look right in another jersey. I remember seeing Glenn Stewart in a South jersey. I just said, this doesn't look right.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what some other players, there would be, and it's totally off the cuff, so haven't thought about it that much, but there's been some players over the years where you see them in another jersey. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look right at all.
It works if they start winning, like Cooper Cronk. No one thought he would look right in anything other than a Storm jersey, and he goes to the Roosters and wins 2 comps.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your thoughts? 0457 736 736. Plenty to talk about across last night's game, across what's going on with the game as well. Talking about PNG, Adrian Lamb is coaching the Lee Leopards. They're 3rd at the moment.
Yep.
He's got to be a prime candidate for that PNG side as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So plenty to talk about. Have you say 1300 01 11 Saturday 1170, I should say. Up next, We're going to get to some more news in rugby league. We'll look at a team in focus. We'll look at the Melbourne Storm potentially as well. Get to your text messages and a whole lot more. This is Saturday League Kickoff. Sats and AP. I love rugby league fans. I love all our listeners and viewers as well for Saturday League Kickoff, because on the text line, 459 says, so I bought tickets for the game on Saturday night, but I accidentally doubled up. So I have 3 tickets available. 2 adults, 1 child, all GA tickets. For a Sharks fan who are doing it tough, that would like to go but can't afford it, I'll give them the tickets. Well said.
Oh, well played.
459. My suggestion would be I'd give the Sharks football office a call. I reckon they'd have some members that haven't been able to get finals tickets, because it's all controlled by the NRL, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously all that whole debate about locking fans out or whatever else, they're going to be 3 very, very happy fans being able to watch a footy.
Well done, 459. But call Sharks their football office. I think they'll be able to help you out there, and it's actually a great thought when it comes to our beautiful game. Now, Jake from Quakers Hill, 1300 01 1170 is our number, our open line, and when he's on the line, he's giving us a call. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. How are you guys going?
Going good, pal. Going good. What do you got for us?
Yeah, mate. I'm a Para supporter, just to let you know. So I'm spewing that we're out. But I'm really hopeful and happy for next year. I'm really happy how the end of that season panned out for us. I'm not sure on who our 6 is going to be yet, and I don't think any of us are. But we've got a few nights sleep we can sleep on it. But I just want to discuss the Bulldogs thing from an outsider supporter. Them fans deserve to be there, and I think that stadium next week is going to be a full house. But I just can't believe that they would change what was working so well. They were coming first in the ladder, and I understand they had an opportunity to bring in Galvin when they did. But if you have a look at it, why change something that was working? So for me, if I'm going into next week, I'm definitely keeping in Sexton. I'm bringing back Reid. He's got the mongrel in him to get that crowd going, and the team. Leave Galvin in there. I put Burton to centres, and that is their only chance in my eyes. And I'm analysing this every day of the week. That is their only chance next week. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you very much, Jake. Give us a call, and you make some really good points. And you actually, you're talking on behalf of a lot of our viewers and listeners that have texted into the show as well. And we can't get to all of those about the same subject, but pretty much everyone is saying, I can't believe how dumb the Bulldogs have been selecting players out of position. Sexton is successful, half. Galvin is a 5'8". Burton is a centre trying to be a 5'8". So you're saying exactly what a lot of our listeners are saying as well. So thank you for taking time out for not only watching, listening, and giving us a call. But I agree. I think Galvin in the long run is going to be better for the Bulldogs in the long run. But for where they were in the position, it's now the proof is in the pudding, really, isn't it? That it has been disjointed. He plays a completely different game to Toby Sexton. He's a hell of a player, Lockie Galvin. But I think when he came into the team, it probably would have been better to, I think at best, maybe play him at 13.
Yep.
But I think worst case scenario, you're just playing him off the bench because he can play multiple positions.
So, Jake, I totally agree with the recruitment of Lockie Galvin.
Yep.
I reckon longer term, they look at him, once he feels into his body, because he's a big, tall, rangy thing, they think he can be an Isaiah Yeo type ball playing lock. And next year, they could well start with Mitchell Woods, who's like a phenomenal athlete. They reckon he's ready. They've played the long game with him. There were probably opportunities to maybe give him a taste of first grade at different times this year, but they've held back. And he's a special player. Like, I was talking to Nick Davis during the week, and he said that he was actually
Nick Davis, he will save us.
He will save us. That very same one. Yep. He coached him when he was coming through the Swans Academy. He was an All-Australian player, which means that he's one of the best 20 AFL young players in the country, including all of Victoria. And he made the decision that he wanted to play for the Bulldogs to pursue rugby league. So going forward, I think he's going to be the 7. Galvin potentially 13. It'll be interesting what happens with Burton over the next couple of years. There's been a bit of talk that perhaps he's the one that moves on. You can't be paying him centre money, or you can't be paying him 5'8" money and playing him in the centres long term.
So I've never agreed with that. Because what you're doing is you're signing the athlete.
Yeah.
And if you do get injuries, the ability for that player to play at a high level in the 6 jersey, the 3 jersey, whatever it may be, they're going to have a major influence on the game. So, but the salary cap is a very very difficult thing at times.
But at the moment, we saw, as you were saying, like Burton was unlocked because Sexton was on the field.
Yeah.
Like it was, I think that's working for them at the moment. So, some big decisions over the next...
So we're seeing it at the Broncos at the moment. Reece is being unlocked in a completely different style.
Yeah.
Because Ben Hunt knows the importance of Reece.
Yeah.
Ben Hunt knows he doesn't have to overplay his hand. So he gets the team to the field position. Billy Walters knows his role. They're both really good defensively. And it's about just opening up the field for Reece. And we're seeing the outcome of that as well now.
Yep.
So this is the big decision for clubs moving forward, like the Brisbane Broncos and
what does
the
Madge do,
Bulldogs.
for instance, in a week's time, potentially?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, you've got to bring Adam Reynolds in. One, he's a skipper. Two, he's got one of the best kicking games.
Yep.
And a lot of the time he turns 4 into 6,
Yep.
even though Reece has been kicking well. But to find that happy balance...
Isn't it that cohesion is like really hard to find and you can lose it really quickly as well?
So the good part about Adam Reynolds is
Yep.
he's had the ability to sit back now and watch how the team is playing, and he's smart enough, along with his connection with Michael Maguire, to say, well, I need to probably change a few things. I probably don't need to go as deep into the line because I don't have the speed anymore. By the time I deliver the ball, Reece has got a lot of pressure on him. I need to probably deliver it a lot earlier.
Yep.
And just let Reece do what he does.
And he'll be selfless enough to do that.
Absolutely.
If it's the best thing for the team.
Now, Martin says, I'm not sure if the Sharks office would be open today. Maybe someone from the club is listening to your show. Yeah, great advice, Martin. So anyone from the Sharkies, can you please give the show a call? 1300 01 1170. We have a listener or a viewer on Fox League that has 3 tickets to Sharkies fans for tonight. If you can give us a call, and we'll take your details and we'll try and connect you to give it to one of the members as well, which
Awesome.
Which is a nice what a nice way to start a Saturday, knowing you possibly have 3 tickets to a finals game. Okay, let's get into our team in focus, and they are currently still playing in the finals. This is the Storm song, isn't it?
There you go.
I've never heard this song
Neither
ever in
have
my life, ever. I remember playing, and the 2 things I remember from playing is standing on the try line and hearing the drums being beaten behind you at the Warriors.
Yeah.
While you're trying to defend and try and talk to your teammates, and all you heard was the drums being beaten, and it used to get inside your head. Then Stacey and Ali Lautiti would rip you apart.
Yeah.
And the other one was when you'd run on the field and you'd stand at the home field at Canberra Stadium.
They've got a good song, haven't
And all
they?
of a sudden they started playing do-do-do-do-do. And then,
As an opposition player, did you start tapping your feet?
well, Billy Moore tells that story.
I've heard that story by Billy. It's
But you'd
awesome.
stand there, and like Billy Moore tells a great story, he'd stand there and he said all of a sudden you'd be singing the song in your head, and all of a sudden Mal would run out, and then Ricky Stewart would run out, then Laurie Daly would run out, and Barry Belcher would run out. And you think, it's going to be a long afternoon, a long afternoon. Hey, so let's get to our team in focus. You talk about cohesion. This has been one of the most cohesive sides in the NRL since coming into the competition in 1998. And since he's taken over from 2003, they haven't missed a beat. Of course, 2010, there's a blip on the radar there. There's a couple of asterisks when it comes to premierships. I still class them as the premiers those 2 years. But in saying that, they have been flawless across a number of years when it comes to on-field performance. Now, the Melbourne Storm, when you look at Craig Bellamy and what he's been able to create there with Frank Panisi, and we've got Stormy Daniel and Hillstorm Hillary that texts in the show, Richard from Melbourne, who are mad Storm fans. This is their 10th, as we said, in 11 years that they've played a grand final qualifier. And who knows what happens with Craig, because every year for the last 10 years, he's been saying it's potentially his last year, which is comes off contract end of next year, I
He's
think.
decided, yep, he'll
But
go.
he's got a
one more.
rolling contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, it's been a guessing game for everyone, and he's considered weighed up personal
Yep.
things that are going on as well. But I just think he'd drive himself mad if he wasn't in the NRL hothouse all the time.
Yep.
But you talk about alignment and the way they've been able to find those players and also keep them. So a lot's been said about Nick Politis in terms of a deal maker, a businessman on the field and off the field with all of his other business interests.
Yep.
I think Matt Tripp's quite amazing in the way that he has been able to keep the nucleus of that side together for such a long time. So it was the big 4 back in the day, and they've got a roster crunch at the moment where they've got a lot of good players off contract at the same time. but he just has a history of getting his man, and very rarely do they miss out on a player that they want to keep.
Well, players want to stay there, first and foremost, due to the success.
They'll take unders to do so.
When they look at players, it gives them time to do a lot of due diligence and research on players, whereas other clubs who haven't tasted a lot of success, they've got to react a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So the Melbourne Storm and Paul Bunn and Frank Panisi and co have had this great ability to be able to sit back and say, I like that player. Now we can go and do a full deep dive into that player and, what do they like off the field? How do they interact with their teammates?
The coffee test.
The coffee test. They firm handshake. Do they say thank you to the person serving the coffee? Do they pay for the coffee?
Yep.
As well? Do they offer to pay? All these little areas, they gives them time to recruit. And this is why Paul Bunn is so good at what he's been able to do on the back of such great success. Now, the history with the Melbourne Storm is, outside of being on-field, their on-field successes, and based on recruitment, is the 3 players from memory that they've only signed that have had previous state of origin experience.
Michael Crocker, Xavier Coates, and Stefano Utoikamanu.
I think they're the only 3 from memory.
Which is unbelievable.
Yep.
They basically don't buy established players. They build their own. And then once they have those marquee guys in the spine slots, they get bit players to fit in all around them. It's a phenomenal system.
So a large portion of their salary cap takes up pretty much 75% of their cap.
Yep.
And then the rest are willing to go down there and play for development money and minimum wage as well and be part of a successful club.
And it's interesting, those 3 players that you talked about, when Michael Crocker first got there, he had some ridiculous stat where they won like an inordinate amount of games. Like he was like their lucky charm. They kept on winning. Xavier Coates has gone to another level, like literally in the way that he leaps for the football, although I thought the Dogs did a good job on him last night. And Stefano was probably the best forward on the field last night, wasn't he?
Yep, he was. Now, when a lot of people say when they get there, these players, for some reason, they turn into different players. But they've already done their research before they get there. They're not getting them there on a hope and a prayer that they're going to do something good. They've already done all their research. So by the time they get there, pretty much it's the exclamation mark. How are you going to handle the preseason? If you get through it, you're 3/4 of the way there. So it's not a bad recruiting process. Now, when you look at options to replace Craig Bellamy one day, now Craig Bellamy is a little bit like, he's in his mid-60s now, Craig. Yep. Wayne's still going at 103. So he's still got a lot of years left in him, Craig. And if you're once a coach, you're always a coach. People say, he could be a coaching director or a general manager of rugby league.
Wayne Bennett's got no interest in that either.
These guys just want to coach. And the adrenaline rush is being around the players. And then the winning that comes after it is just the cherry on top. So Craig's no different. He's not built any differently to the likes of your Tim Sheens and your Wayne Bennett's as well. And, Warren Ryans and these great coaches of years gone by. But when the day, and if the day comes, well, it's not if, it's when the day comes, the list of potential takeovers. There's always talking about Billy Slater.
Yep.
At the moment, he doesn't want to coach at club level.
That's their number one choice. Yep.
He's got a great life outside of rugby league. He's got a great business as well.
He gets his
very
coaching
close
jollies
family.
from Queensland.
Exactly. You've got Ryan Hinchcliffe, who we've mentioned earlier on. I know I've done a lot of work on Ryan Hinchcliffe, a little project of myself over a number of years. And Ryan Hinchcliffe rates really highly when it comes to being a first-grade coach. He could be Craig Bellamy when he went from the Broncos to the Melbourne Storm. You know what you're going to get. You're not quite sure, but he could be there 20 years later with Ryan. You've also got Matty King, highly regarded by Frank Panisi and all the hierarchy at the Melbourne Storm.
They really wanted him to apply for the Perth gig.
Yeah.
Like the NRL was keen. All of the mail coming out of the New South Wales Blues, he's added a lot.
He is elite level, Matty King, and he'll be really selective about what club he coaches.
Yep.
Look at the salary cap. Is it going to affect the way that I coach? So he's going to be really, really smart around the process about who he coaches. Aaron Bellamy, Mark Brentnell, who are there at the moment. They've always liked to promote from inside as well.
Yep.
The Melbourne Storm through their pathways and their assistant coaches, whatever it may be. So the club in focus is a very successful one. They've got some players they've got to make some decisions on. Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Cameron Munster, who's coming off contract, and he'll be 32 in September 2026. Does he become the Perth Bears' number one marquee signing, and Pezzit's the number 7 in 27, along with Hughes as number 6?
Yep.
It's a good position to be in for the Storm.
Yep. They've got a lot of players that are off contract in 2026.
Yep.
So Xavier Coates only re-signed for 1 year because he's thinking potentially he could be available for PNG with his background there. but there's lots of guys that are coming off. So Harry Grant, Ryan Pappenhausen, Sean Bloor, Tyron Wishart, Will Warbrick, Nick Meaney, they're all 2026.
Yeah.
But I suspect that the majority of those will stay.
And what about Lazarus? Sammy Bulldog says, yeah, you're right, but since Bellamy's been there, they've only recruited 3 from memory as well. So thanks for your text, 0457 736 736. And also, if you want to give us a call, like Jake did, 1300 01 1170. That's it for the first hour of Saturday League Kickoff. Another hour to come with AP and myself. So if you're watching on Fox League or listening across the entire network of SEN, stick around. Plenty more to come. Second hour of Saturday League Kickoff. And before we get into our Loopym deep dive, which is the breakout players for the non-finals teams in 2025, we've got a few that have come through from our listeners. Keep sending them through. 0457 736 736 is the number. And if you're only just joining us, we had plenty in the first hour. You can always get it on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. Saturday League Kickoff, just look for that. Or you can watch it back on KO as well, on repeat. We spoke about the Melbourne Storm as a team in focus. We spoke about their game last night as well. Plenty in the world of rugby league and plenty more to come as well in the second hour. Of course, Fox League is leaving. We're going to be leaving at the end of this second hour to go straight into the Brisbane Broncos up against the North Queensland Cowboys, NRLW, and the Gold Coast Titans, as Braden on the text line has said. Go you Gold Coast Titans girls. They have to beat the Canberra Raiders this afternoon to take up 6th position to play finals. So good luck to the Gold Coast Titans and Karen Murphy. Now, people that didn't look right in different jerseys. You got a text here. David Peachy in a Rabbitohs jersey. Didn't look right.
Yeah.
Nathan Merritt in a Cronulla jersey.
Yeah, that's true. They're good ones.
Out of the comp. Yeah, so there's plenty of examples. Also, there has been some players that have been signed by Melbourne. Tarek Sims, we've got a vote there as well.
Yeah.
Brett Finch as well, played Origin and then went to Melbourne and won a comp in 09.
It is very rare, though, that they go for an established representative player.
Now, 280 says, Mark says, love your show, Sats and AP. I know it's predominantly a league show, but what about the popularity of athletics in Australia surging? Both Nine and SBS are showing the World Athletics champions starting this morning. Yes, Nina Kennedy, the gold medalist, out, the pole vaulter, unfortunately. Mark, the title is Saturday League Kickoff. So, yeah, predominantly league, but am loving what the Australian athletes are doing in the track and the field as well. And we'll be watching some of the highlights and some of the outcomes as well. Matt Johns in a Cronulla jersey. Yeah, good one, Benny. I like it. So let's get to our deep dive for Loopym. Loopym, for all your pool care needs, that's Loopym. And so the breakout players for clubs whose seasons have finished. So we're going to go one for one here.
Yep.
Okay. But before we do that, I want to jump into some of our listeners. Tolu Kola, best season ever, Tynan says.
Good call.
Got to agree. He actually received the Roy Bull Award for the Player of the Year, Tolu Kola.
Yep.
I'm not a para fan. I thought getting rid of Gutho was crazy, as it says. But Isaiah Iongi is amazing and looks like a long, successful career ahead of him. Yeah, good vote there, Azza.
Yep.
What about Stormy Daniels says, I'll go Ashton Ward, I should say, from South Sydney. Diminutive 5'8".
Train and trial deal. He's
amazing.
Tiny, isn't he? He showed he belongs.
Dolphin star, lock, Kurt O'Donoghue. It's at O'Donoghue, isn't it, the way that it's spelt? Yeah. Could be a Maroons bolter as well. Yeah, good one there. Tolu Kola, Andrew says. Morning, guys. Jai Gray has been a standout all year for South. Latrell being injured has allowed Jai to shine this year.
Yep.
Has been the most impact. So, Garrick Morgan in a Crushers jersey. Anthony Watmow in a Para jersey didn't look right.
That didn't look good.
Ricky in a Dogs Guernsey didn't look right as well. Josh Reynolds in a West Tigers jersey. Yeah, plenty of coming through as well. Love that. Paul Vorton in a Roosters jersey.
Yes.
We've started a phenomenon here. What's going to happen with DCE? Going to have to turn that button off again, Ratty, because we can hear all your conversations between you and Kat. Okay, Loopym, deep dive. Let's go Dolphins. I'll go Dolphins, and I'm going to say, Kurt O'Donoghue is one, but Oren Keeley as well, the back rower, outstanding, and another one was Trey Fuller.
Kurt O'Donoghue, he won me over in that game against the Bulldogs where he had his nose broken.
Yes.
And he just said it, put it into place. And you could see the footage of the doctor coming in and just going, yank, and said, all right,
Yep.
I'm good. I'm back out there. I'm like, he's my man.
Yeah, exactly. Manly. Tolu Kola. I'm going Lehigh Hopewadi as well.
Yeah, I think so. Like, he was just terrific whenever he gets an opportunity at the back. And it sort of was a bit of a headache for Siebes, wasn't it? In terms of, like, he played him there for a while, and then when do I bring Turbo back? Do I bring him back? Do I leave him in the centres? So interesting to see what he does at the start of next season.
I think Lehigh's got to play fullback and Tommy in the centres and just have the ability
A roving commission, yeah.
Well, you've got the ability to go, well, back half of the first half. Tommy goes to fullback, Lehigh goes to wing, Ruben Garrett goes in the centres just for a short period, just a bit of shock and awe when it comes to the opposition. When they're lining up and looking at certain parts of the opposition, sometimes it's like I'm looking at where's Lehigh, all of a sudden, whoa, where's Tommy come from?
Yep.
And they've got the ability to do that as well. Eels, well, I think we all agree.
Isaiah Yongi.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's the Dalian Rookie of the Year. Incredible faith shown in him. He'd only played 80 minutes.
Over the top of Lecker and Robert Toya?
I think so. Yep. He's in a spine key position. He's replacing a club legend in Clint Gutherson. He'd only played 80 minutes of NRL before he'd come across one game for the Panthers. They saw something in him, threw him into a team that's rebuilding, like in a totally different spine where Mitch Moses doesn't play for a big portion of the year. I think he's done an amazing job.
Shout out to Reece Williams as well. I know he had some really good years at Cronulla, but then he got injured and Teague Wilton came in. He found himself sort of on the outer a little bit, coming off the bench, and he's gone to Parramatta, and he's just re-established himself as a really good forward.
Yep.
As a bit of a breakout season again. So well done. Yeah, Isaiah Yongi, Cowboys. I'm Jackson Purdue.
Yeah, agree.
I think his position's fullback.
Yeah.
He has played in the halves. Hasn't played a lot of
He's
centre.
played centre. He's played 5'8". So you reckon his best position is fullback?
Yeah, I think his best position moving forward is fullback, but
Yep.
unfortunately, they've got a really good one in Scotty Drinkwater,
Yeah.
and the salary cap will play a role in there of where each person plays and
Yeah.
what role they play in the future. But Jackson Purdue's a special young kid. I want to shout out to Cohen Hess. Had a breakout year after a serious injury and came into Origin calculation again. So well done. West Tigers, I'm going Fanua Pole.
Yep. I'm going to change. I wrote down initially Jarrell Skelton, but I think Terrell May, when you talk about a breakout year, he has gone to another level. He's probably a bit stiff that he didn't play an Origin game this season. He can play almost 80 minutes.
Yep.
Like, in terms of output, apart from Payne Haas, there's no one else in the game that can do that. And he gives them something different in terms of an offload, and he plays some football.
Talking about players that didn't look right in other jerseys, Ben Barber in a Broncos jersey.
Yes,
Yeah,
that never worked.
Really never worked out, did it?
No.
Who's the next one? The Rabbitohs. I think we all agreed. Well, I'm going to say young Ward was outstanding.
Yeah.
Ashton Ward. But Jai Gray.
Unbelievable.
Well,
But
again, so good that he's probably going to force Latrell to the centres.
you talk about players who provide bang for buck. He's on
Yep.
less than 200K this year and next.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he gets an opportunity potentially with Rugby 360. They're offering him 600K US,
Yep.
which is like almost $920,000 for this guy who's just burst out onto the scene from anywhere. And I've stood next to him. He's only a little fella, but he's well built. Like there's a bit of him there. He's a bit like Alan Langer, like in terms of he's not a tall guy.
What's he going to play in rugby? Would he be a 9? I don't know whether he's got that box kicking game or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his kicking game's like as well. I don't know what position he plays. He's 4'11" on a good day.
Yeah.
So I don't know where.
It's not to say that he's going to go there,
No.
but there's an option that's been presented to him.
Ron Coote in a Roosters jersey, Lurch O'Neill in a Manly jersey, Bozo Fulton in a Roosters jersey from Newt.
These are good ones.
That's a smorgasbord right there. Yeah, Ron Coote never looked good in anything other than a Rabbitohs jersey. Come at me, Roosters fans. Come at me. Dragons, King Tongia.
Yeah, I
You
think
loving
so.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's a pity we never got to see him and Jonah Glover play first grade together because there's been big raps on him and they had a really good run there for a while. And Jonah Glover's now gone over to South Sydney, so
yeah.
Wayne Bennett's seen something in him. So I thought, a young bloke in a side that's still struggling, rebuilding, he did a good job.
I've a shout out to Shane Flanagan for sticking with him. and not dropping him when he was losing. He's missing some tackles, but he had to persist with him.
Yeah.
And he's going to be all the better for it from 2026. And he knows that. He knows you just got to expose him. It's not going to be perfect, but you just got to learn what the intensity is going to be like and how frequent the intensity is and making those decisions. So well done. He's definitely going to be a good young player. Titans, who you got?
Jalen de Groot.
He reminds me of a Gutho at fullback.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate he's got young Keanu Kinney in front of him.
Yeah.
And AJ Brimson. He's all on effort, this kid.
Geez, there's some fullbacks up there.
Yeah, there are. There are.
Like it's a real puzzle that's one for
Well,
you
you
to
can take
work
Jaden
out.
out of there now. Jaden's he's going to be an established in the half,
Yeah.
7 or 6 now. So
Yeah.
you can probably take
What's his best position?
who?
De Groot.
Fullback.
Fullback?
Yeah, he's a
where,
fullback.
Where does he play next year?
It's going to be a tough battle for fullback position and that wing position.
Yep.
Or just get really massive and be a 13 because I think everyone's a 13.
Everyone's a 13. Carter Gordon's a 13.
Yep.
Everyone's a good
Everyone's
13.
a 13. Lockie Galvin, 13.
Yep.
Matty Burton, 13. And the last one, the Knights.
I've got Fletcher Hunt.
Yeah.
It was a real baptism of fire for him. His first game of NRL and the last one that he played, he had Zach Lomax marking up on him on both occasions, and Mitchell Moses was raining bombs on him, and it was a really tough initiation. But I've seen enough from him. He's just a guy. You know, like some blokes, you just go, he's got a little bit of something, and even though he made the mistake as he did on occasions, he still kept trying.
Yep.
And I think he's got a future.
The young back row's not a bad breakout player as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be very good. Yeah. So there's our deep dive. Thanks to our good friends at Loopym, and love all your texts that are coming in about breakout players and also players that just didn't look right in the jerseys that they're wearing. Chock Watmow in a Para jersey, Glenn Stewart in a Rabbits, DCE in a Titans jersey. Well, that was really only for a photo opportunity. Brandy in an Auckland jersey was rank Blue Emu, says. Yeah, but didn't he served them great, didn't he? Also, Brandy. Fatty in a Roosters jersey. Sean Johnson in a Sharks jersey. Yuck. Johnny Mays in a Manly jersey. Benji in any other jersey but the Tigers.
Yep.
Tommy Rodonigas in a Newtown jersey as well. So plenty of nominations coming through, and there's plenty more to get to as well. So have you say 1300 01 1170 if you want to give us a call. But if you want to send a text, 0457 736 736. And after the break, we're going to review today's Elimination Finals games. Hey, welcome back to the show, and also a very good, big thank you to our good friends at Eufy. Save time and effort with the E15 robot lawnmower, and also Kogan, and you can switch to a Kogan mobile plan, low price phone plan as well. Just go to kogan.com, click an awesome. It says, lucky you got to say that right, eh? Click an awesome. Yeah.
Sats, breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
So the judiciary charges have come in. Oh, that's good.
Here's quick Pete on the button.
Very good. So the only charge to come out of last night's game,
Jalen Salmon, how many weeks?
0. He wasn't charged.
Nice.
So,
I like
which is
it.
good. We agreed that wasn't a hip drop on Cameron Munster. The NRL Match Review Committee have seen it the same way. Josh Curran has copped a grade 1 careless high tackle, but he'll escape suspension with an early plea.
I can't even remember that tackle.
$1,800. They'll pay that, and we'll all move on, which is great.
So on the back of that game as well, we've got a lot of Bulldogs fans and just rugby league fans have texted in. Anthony has won. We're talking about the Storm's behaviour last night, staying down to milk penalties. Munster acted like he'd broken his ankle. When he got the penalty, he got up like nothing had happened. We've got a few that have weighed in on that as well.
I thought Adam G handled it pretty well. He actually, you could hear him through the microphone say, "Can you play the ball?"
Yep.
And so the bunker had a quick look at it. There was nothing to see here. If you can't play it, give it to someone who can. Let's go on.
Bulldog Matt is the same. He's saying, yes, I'm a Bulldogs fan, and yes, I have sour grapes. However, I don't like when teams lie down as many times as the Storm did last night. It's prevalent in the game now. Well, I actually got a text here about the UK Super League as well. Whereas I was just reading that Kyle Felt apparently got penalised this morning for milking a penalty in the UK Super League.
That's good.
I have to go back and watch that.
Imagine that happened in a finals game. We haven't seen it all year, and then someone just goes, "Brrr."
Don't say it, because it usually happens. Hey, a clamp down in the finals. We love it as
An
rugby league
edict,
fans, don't we?
a clamp down.
An edict. Hey, you were talking about Fletcher Fletcher Hunt.
Yes, sorry, I got Sharp.
Fletcher Hunt was great. He was really good this year.
Exactly.
You're talking Fletcher Sharp
Sharp,
as well.
yes, yep.
Well said. Now, SEN League coverage from 3 p.m. this afternoon till 7. The elimination finals, of course, it's on Fox League as well. Warriors, 6th place up against the Panthers, 7th place. 4:05 p.m. kickoff, Go Media Stadium. It's going to be sold out like it has all year. This will be absolutely heaving. One of their, the Warriors fan that you see that's got like the Joker.
Yeah.
The white face and the red mouth.
Yeah.
Scary clown.
The Let's Go on Warriors sign.
Yeah, so he's put out a bit of a call to arms that they throw eggs at the Panthers coach's box.
Yes.
During the game.
Keep them up all night. Like
Between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's go and play loud
Tell
music.
everyone which hotel they're at. Make sure there's fireworks and all that sort of stuff.
Yep, exactly. So I don't think that was going to. It was all tongue in cheek. We know that, but 5th straight premiership, their quest outside the top 4 for the first time. Now, the last time the Panthers lost a qualifying final was 2021 against the Rabbitohs. Ended up going on and winning that game, of course, that grand final, I should say. So
incredible effort. I went out Sats to Ivan's press conference just before they left for Auckland, and I talked to him about that sort of what was the sliding doors moment, and the sort of low point was after Bathurst. That was when they lost to Newcastle. They got blown off Carrington Park in the first half. And it looked like that was the end of the 5-peat. The dream was over. And I sort of asked him what happened. And he said, well, there are excuses if we wanted to take them. So if we want to look at the fact that we don't have a home ground, we've lost guys like Fisher Harris, like Luai, lots of players unavailable, we can feel a bit sorry for ourselves. So we can find an excuse if we want to. But he said it was the players who actually led the turnaround. Like they just came back and said, we need to be playing at a level that we're at least proud of. It doesn't matter where we finish. And all of a sudden they get all of the momentum. They get towards the back end of the season. It's almost like they've been playing finals football for 2 months. They've had to win a lot of games in order to qualify for the finals. And all of a sudden they're here. They've got some momentum and potentially the whole draw could open up for them.
You got Catewell, you got James Fisher-Harris looking to bring their downfall as well. And how did he explain it? Sucked into the vortex of self-pity.
Sucked into a vortex of self-pity. We've all been there on a Saturday night after a couple of sherbets.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's terrific. And then you think about the guys that they're leaving out. Like you look at Jenkins and the job that he's done and the decision to say, like, unfortunately, you can't play. But that talks to the depth of the side. Like, you can put Alamotti in. You've got all of these incredible people that are coming off the production factory that is the Panthers junior nursery.
And it is the great skill as a coach to have faith and patience in your playing group. And what I mean by that is that there are times throughout the year, and I remember we called a game for SEN League, a game at Combank, and it was their left side, which was Blaise Talangi, who they said, you're going to be our 6. And they had Casey McLean, and also Milky Jenkins as well on that left-hand side. And it was debauchery over that. So it was an absolute debacle. There was players getting up out of the line. There were players sitting back. They weren't connected at all. But they stayed strong as a coaching group.
Yeah.
Peter Wallace and Benny Gardner and co. And said, this is going to be our team. You've got to get it right. Yeah. So through really good coaching, they got it right. And now they're in the position to make their way, what is a long way home.
Yeah.
But they've got enough big players to play these massive games. They know how to prepare for these big games as well. So.
Well, that was a great point you made about Blaise Talangi. Like he had a bit of a hampered off-season. He had, injuries coming back from. They didn't rush him straight back in. Yep. There was that whole pressure of you're going to be the new Jerome Luai. He didn't start the year in first grade, and they just let him work on a few things in New South Wales Cup. They eased him in, and his game has gone to a next level as the season's progressed.
Can we get a finals prediction on who wins what games? Thanks, Jason. Okay, did you pick Melbourne last night? I did.
Yes.
Who wins this first game between the Warriors and the Panthers? Panthers. The second game, which of course is the Sharkies and the Roosters.
I've gone upset Sharks.
I have too.
Yep.
And tomorrow the Raiders up against the Bulldogs. Up against the Broncos.
Raiders.
Yep. I agree. Hooker Mitch Kenny out with a hamstring injury, so he's going to be replaced by Luke Summerton, 25-year-old. I only learnt the other day he's a Gold Coast boy.
Oh, really?
He was born on the Gold Coast, yeah.
I saw him playing a trial a few years ago, and he was the best player on the field. It was a pre-season game. I just thought, I'm surprised he actually hasn't played more first grade. He's a good player.
He's a good worker. From all reports, an amazing, great guy to have around the group and a tremendous trainer as well. So he'll play a huge role. Now, rumours throughout the week that Jet Cleary, who plays New South Wales Cup, they're very successful in New South Wales Cup side, the Warriors. He was playing as Nathan as the lead up to this game. Now, why would you put the kid in this position if it's truth? Because he's got is it blood before club or is it club before blood?
Well, Ivan was asked about that, and he said, "No, if he's doing his job, he'll be looking after club before blood."
He's got to say that. Of course, he's got to say that, Ivan.
Well, he has to, doesn't he?
I'll be looking after blood.
What? So you're saying he's a double agent? So he's running lame on the training track. I'm not really going to be like Nathan.
Okay, you know what Nathan loves to do? He loves to throw massive cutout balls. And loves to kick on the third tackle. So yeah, blood before club. Who knows? And as you said, James Fisher-Harris and Kurt Capewell, they get the opportunity as much as it would hurt them post-game. But during the game, they would not care less if they stopped the halt of their former premiership teammates.
Yep.
McLean has been going well for the Panthers and Sorensen will be a handful. That's a good part about it. You spoke about the depth.
Yeah.
They've got this amazing depth at the Panthers to be able to bring Paul Alamotti in.
Yep.
As well as who was one of the stars in last year's grand final, try scorer as well. So plenty of matchups. James Fisher-Harris up against his good mate Moses Leota. I love the the master and the apprentice battles.
Yeah.
And even though he played a huge role, and I thought many will argue this because of the finish that Nathan Cleary had in that grand final against the Brisbane Broncos. Moses Leota was in the top 2 best players in that game. He was amazing that game.
He was one of the best players in the 22 grand final as well.
Yeah. So Fish going up against Leota. Dallin Watini-Zalesniak going up against Brian To'o. Tanner Boyd up against Nathan Cleary as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got no doubt Tanner would have taken Jet Cleary out for a feed throughout the week. So, mate, can you just tell me how I beat your brother?
Yeah. He's been a good pickup for them.
Jet goes, bite me. I'm not telling you anything. Yeah. But, Tanner Boyd's got a huge responsibility as well. And unfortunately, it comes with the game, doesn't it? You replace the star player.
Yep.
You've got to play your role. Don't try and replicate what Luke Metcalf has been doing. But his greatest asset is his kicking game. And what he can do to the Penrith Panthers is he can go kick for kick with Nathan Cleary and see how it plays out.
Well, you talk about depth. What about the fact that the Warriors are at this point without Mitch Barnett, without Metcalf, and they've managed to, they're a big shout in this game. Yep.
Now, it said Luke Summerton's a Gold Coast boy. And I've just been corrected because someone told me this throughout the week. And I'm sorry. 445 says, no, he's not from the Gold Coast. He's a Hills District junior. So he played, Hills District. He did too. Where was he born?
Maybe
No,
he
he's
went
born
to
in Sydney.
schoolies. Maybe holidays on the Gold Coast.
So whoever told me that throughout the week is lying to me.
Sack the mailman.
Lucky this show's not live. Can we take that out later on? Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, this is Saturday League kickoff, a big game this afternoon, that first game. And we're going to continue Saturday's elimination finals, which is, of course, the Sharkies up against the Roosters. That is the toss of the coin. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more on the other side of the break, so stick around. Yeah, welcome back to the show. We're going to get to our second elimination final very soon, which is 7 till 11, live on the SEN League coverage as well, and Fox League, wherever you're going to watch or listen to the game today. It's all covered through SEN and Fox League. Great collaboration between both families, which we're loving in its first year in 2025. Now, before we get to that, I've got Trent Barrett in a Sharks jersey from Jules. This is players in other jerseys that just didn't look right. And in Zane, my good mate Zane has texted and said, we've got a couple of more with the same nomination. Petro Sivanasiva in a Panthers jersey. Just didn't look right. He had a huge influence on that Panthers team, but that club. They loved him out there.
He came at a really hard time when they were rebuilding, and a lot of that future success is off the back of him.
Yep. So Bossman says, hey, boys, just in case you don't know the words to chant this Arvo, I thought I'd send them through. We are the power. We are the speed. We are the skills. That's all we need. Get up and shout. Say it till the end. We are the Warriors 100%. That doesn't rhyme, the last bit. I'm a little bit concerned about that song. Okay? There'll be a lot of fans. They'll be singing that over there this afternoon. Luke Garner is a Gold Coast boy. He is. He's from the Blamble Jets. Luke Garner has had a great season again with the Penrith Panthers. Now, this elimination final, the Sharkies, who sat 5th after the regular season. Roosters, who are 8th, of course, and then coming home with a wet sail. 7:50 kickoff at Shark Stadium. Now, Tommy Hazelton, he's been ruled out 24 hours before kickoff. Dan Atkinson comes in. He was outstanding last week.
Terrific, yep.
Really good. Gives you a bit of an idea of what, the Dragons fans can see what you're getting because he's been good. He's been on the interchange bench or 18th man for a number of games this year.
Yep.
But it speaks volumes of a player who hasn't played a lot of NRL this year, that when you throw him in, you don't just take the mindset that I'm just going to fill the jersey. You actually have an impact. And he had a huge impact.
So I was under the assumption when he signed with the Dragons that he signed to play in the halves,
Yep.
but that's not necessarily the case. So I read some comments from Shane Flanagan recently where he said potentially he could be playing 13.
Yep.
So, we talked about King Tongia, Kyle Flanagan's there. Interesting to see what Flano does in the halves next season.
Yeah, exactly. Matty Rogers in a jersey that wasn't 2 or 3. I'm not even going to give him a jersey number 3. He claims he's a 5'8", but he played 76% of his career on the Bing and swing.
Was 100% of that time on 5/8 money?
Yeah, just accept it, Matty. Okay, you're a winger and you're a great one. Talk about players that didn't look right in jerseys. We've got a lot of votes for Steve Rogers in a Dragons jersey. He didn't like his time at the Dragons, Rat said. He's always a Sharks man. A jersey that didn't look right, Matt Rogers in a Wallaby jersey.
Oh, you can't say
There you go. Britton Nickera has been named in jersey number 21, pushing to play his first game. 3-game suspension, of course, he had. And they've been left in a bit of a position, and you wouldn't say this about Britton Nickera because he's been one of the most consistent players for you Sharkies fans for many, many years. But Billy Burns has jumped out of the ground.
Yeah.
So, again, it just adds to the depth. Looks to have re-signed, I think, with the Sharkies, Billy Burns. They thought they might have to let him go to another club because he may have outpriced himself.
Yep.
So, Britton Nickera, he's a key component of the side.
It was actually a really good hit out for the Sharks last week. I covered their game against the Bulldogs in a game where no one could improve their position. I thought they absolutely tore into each other. So there was none of that, we'll dip our toe in, we'll just survive and make sure no one gets injured for the next game.
Yep.
They got their defence right, and I think that's put them in really good stead for what's coming up tonight.
And everyone keeps talking about you got to shut down Blake Brayley. Talk about breakout seasons.
Yes.
He's had a breakout season this year. And it's no secret. It's on the back of a marquee elite front rower, Naden Fanua-Blake, was just added that little bit of polish to what was a very good forward pack already, but he's just added that something different through his footwork and his size and his mobility that allows Blake Brayley to get off the back of that and play the game that he does. So it's not about shutting down Blake Brayley. It's about shutting down their big, massive, mobile, aggressive forward pack.
Yeah. And Brayley's got, shown great leadership as well with Cameron McInnes out. He's got that captaincy, signed a new deal, and they're talking about him as a potential Kangaroos bolter.
Yep, exactly. Braden Trindle returns from an ankle injury. Of course, Sharkies fans, you know that. Now, Trent Robinson, let's look at the Roosters because they've won 5 of their past 6 matches to climb from 10th to 8th. So you think that's not a big jump from 10th to 8th, but to win 5 of their last 6 matches leading into the finals, and it's fair to say that plenty of people have them being a side that could be one of the teams that when you're looking over your shoulder as a top 4 side, you don't want them in the finals. Well, guess what? They're there now. And we talk about teams like the Panthers, Rick Astley. Someone on here says you're a spitting image for Rick Astley, the 1980s singer.
Never give up.
Yep. But on the back of the Panthers and the amount of players they've got that are used to playing big games, Origins, Grand Finals, grudge matches, Roosters are no different.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And look at, they were gone after 8 weeks. It just looked like they were not a finals contender. They're totally different halves to what they started. So Sam Walker's out for a big part of the year. Hugo Savala's come in. No longer Chad Townsend in the halves. Sandon Smith also not there as well. And I don't know, they've just managed to turn it around. Mark Nawaqanitawase they wouldn't have known. They knew that they were getting a player, but they couldn't have imagined that he would have the impact that he's had, particularly after all of those losses in the back line with, the 2 Joeys, Manu and Suoli. Unbelievable.
Hey, we mentioned earlier on about players that just didn't look right in jerseys, and we've got so many votes for Greg Inglis in a Queensland jersey.
That's the best. That's the call of
It's
the
a good
day.
one. I love it. Either the Sharks or Roosters just making up the numbers 2-4-2. I don't think so. I think this season there could have been like for the Dolphins not to make the top 8.
The best attacking team in the NRL.
Yeah.
This is the first year where it actually feels like someone outside the top 4 can win. Like the Panthers can win it.
Yep.
The Roosters, if they get on a roll, can win it.
Yep.
Sharks have muscled up. They can potentially do it. I think they're a big chance.
Yeah, absolutely. A big enough play. You've only got to play.
It's three or 4 weeks of good footy and you're there.
Don't worry about the grand final because that's a completely different beast. And people say it's like any other game. It's not. It's far from it being any other game. There's far more focus and exposure and scrutiny on the two teams that are playing. You've got players who've got to be able to handle the week and not play the game in their head too much. And then when you get the grand final time, you've got to be able to enjoy the week and the experience and not think it's like any other game because all of a sudden the noise of the crowd hits you, the intensity of the game hits you in the face, it slaps you in the face straight away. The intensity is a lot higher than any other game. So the players that can play 3 games and get to a grand final, and then you've got senior players that are used to playing big games.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
So that's what's tougher, the actual game, the grand final itself, or all of the stuff that you have to do beforehand. So you've got the grand final breakfast, you've got media commitments, you're on the footy show, you've got all these different things that you wouldn't do through the course of a normal 27-round season. How did you handle that, having not gone through that before?
It depends on your coach. The coach's message from day one on the Monday. I remember we had a meeting, and we used to always meet on the Monday after a game in the opposition's dressing shed at Penrith Stadium. I don't know why, for some reason. It wasn't big or anything, but we used to wait in the always have a meeting in the opposition's dressing shed. And so on the Monday, all the media are out at the end of the tunnel waiting for us to go into our first session. And John Lang said, okay, this week, firstly, the game plan was the Roosters run hard and tackle hard. We're going to run harder and tackle harder. So that was easy. And then he said, a lot of people never get to play in a grand final and not a lot of people get to win one. So what he said was this week there's going to be a lot of media, there's going to be a lot of exposure, a lot of appearances, a lot of people wanting to do stories. There's a lot of family wanting tickets, friends wanting tickets. Just go and enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
And so I actually can't remember training that much. I'm sure we did, but I can't remember training. I remember getting on a bus and going into the breakfast on the Thursday morning. I remember on the bus trip out, and then I remember Preston Campbell picking me up to go and catch the bus on grand final morning.
Yeah.
I remember mowing my lawn grand final morning
Yep.
as well, and my next door neighbour coming over and giving me goggles.
But is that
so I could
is that
get a
part
look
of it?
in my
Because
eye.
you would normally do that if it wasn't a grand final. So I'm not going to change my routine. Like, are you a real routine?
Yeah, I
person?
was.
Yeah.
But so I can't remember training. But what I do remember is, and to answer your question, the coach is really important about the message that they send to the players at the start of the week. If they try and overcoach during the week, you'll just burn the players out.
Yeah.
So on the end of all this, are the Roosters a team that if they can put 3 games together and get to a grand final, would there be every chance on grand final day? 100%.
We don't know about the Sharks. They haven't been there yet.
Yep. I like the Sharkies. I really do. They're a well-coached side. And as we get to the break, the matchups, Hines versus Walker,
Yep.
Sam Walker, 2 completely different players. Kennedy up against Tedesco.
Yep.
What have we got? Trindle up against Savala. We've got Fanua Blake up against Spencer Leniu.
That's going to be off the charts.
And I can't believe we're even saying this, but one of the major matchups is
Ronaldo Mulitalo and Mark Nwanganitavase.
who ever thought we'd be looking forward to 2 wingers playing against each other. Now, the winner plays a loser of the Raiders up against the Broncos, okay? So they cross over all parts of this final series. So now, if you have missed large portions of the show, like I said earlier on, you can get it on the SEN app and download through the podcast as well. Now, you're listening to Saturday League Kickoff with Sats and AP for our good friends at Eufy and Kogan as well. The Sunday, we're going to wrap the show as well. Still plenty to talk about, so stick around. We love all the passion when it comes to rugby league. A lot of our texts coming through about players in other jerseys. They just didn't look right. We've had so much interaction. Hey, we're splitting hairs, guys, Andrew says in Mackay. Great nightclub in Mackay called the AM. Is it called the AM Club? I think it is. Andrew, is it AM Bar? Yeah, I think it's the AM Bar. Enjoying the Saturday broadcast. If we're going to start splitting hairs, GI in a Maroons jersey, what about Sterlo in a Blues jersey?
Oh, you're
Thank
claiming
you.
Sterlo. That'll do,
Touche.
mate. Come on.
110 says the same thing as well. John Sattler in a West Brisbane jersey and a North Brisbane jersey.
Wow.
Looked a little bit weird. It looked a little bit weird. Yeah, it did.
Kieran Foran in an Eels jersey didn't look good.
No, I think he agrees it didn't look good. Wasn't a great decision, was it? Thoughts on the hit drop tackle last night? We spoke about that. Not charged, Jamin Salmon. I think it's the right call. 2-4-2. I don't think he deserved to be charged as well. And the game we just spoke about, the Roosters up against Cronulla, plenty of people saying you only have to win 4 games. Well, 4 games at finals level is high intensity, and you've got to keep rolling over the production line as much as you can and get as much out of your players at the end of the season. So it is difficult, but you've got to win 3, the grand final. Then you can regroup. Now, why didn't the NRL step up and move the Cronulla game to Allianz? Not acceptable for a finals match. Seen bigger crowds at a Broncos training session. I do like the idea of everyone going to the one stadium for the finals.
So, look, obviously there's a reward because of where they finished on the table, but the NRL have said they're going to review it. I reckon this will be the last time that the Cronulla Sharks host a finals game there at Shark Park.
Yep. Well, they've said they're going to look at it, aren't they? Plenty of texts about that as well, and plenty of texts about players and other jerseys. Now let's get to this qualifying final, which is tomorrow. Kickoff at 4:05, GIO Stadium, and it is SEN. Will be covering this as well live 3 till 7, as our Fox League as well. Now the first place Raiders up against the 4th place Broncos. Any of these sides, the style of rugby league they play, can blow any team off the field really, really easy. What I love about the Raiders throughout the season is the way that they've won. Yeah, they've been normally known as the faders, but especially over this year, they've learnt to, unfortunately, give points away at the start, which they can't do in finals. But they've been able to run teams down as well, just with their unpredictability and the speed at which they play as well. So both of these teams, the Broncos and the Raiders, play pretty much the same style of rugby league as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Open. I think the Raiders too, they set up their season early with that really tough run. They had a long stretch away from GIO Stadium. It's interesting too, a lot of the teams that have travelled to Vegas have all come out the other side. Because there's a theory saying that, that travel will catch up to them in the later part of the year. But, that three or four, I think, are in the finals. And they've been the team to beat, probably against the team that's playing the best style of footy. I love the Broncos of the last few weeks. And to think that just a few, there was a stretch there where people were literally calling for Michael Maguire's head.
I know.
It was madness.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 31 years since the Raiders last won a premiership. 1994, Mal Meninga took an intercept of a Jason Smith try, remember?
Wow.
Go away, Jared McCracken. And then, 19 years since the Broncos have won a comp.
Wow.
2006.
That's incredible.
That's amazing when you think about that.
It's actually a disgrace.
Broncos have won 4 of their last 5 games at GIO Stadium. Broncos fans. The Reece Walsh has scored 6 tries in his last 5 games. He's in rare form. Well, not rare form, actually. He's in mature form. That's why I'm probably looking. He's more mature with his game and the selections that he's still got a couple of mistakes, but that's all right. Now the Raiders 5'8", Ethan Strange, 7 tries in the last 6 games. If he doesn't go on the Ashes tour, it is ludicrous.
They have to take it, and I think
it is Paul McNicholas. Ridiculous.
But he's also got a lot of versatility as well. Like he can play several positions in the back line. He could play out. He's a big body too. He could play at lock without a doubt as well.
I was surprised how big he was up front. He's a big kid, Ethan Strange. Very talented family. And you said the Raiders. Do you think the Raiders get this?
Yes. I think the Raiders win, and that these two will play each other in the grand final.
Well, because they cross over.
They cross over.
Yeah. And it has happened, like we said, 2021. Penrith Panthers beaten by South Sydney.
Yeah.
Came back and won that grand final that year as well. And we talked about this earlier on. If they get through this game, the Broncos, which they're going to get a second bite at the cherry anyway. If Reynolds does come back next week, are you putting him at 7 and Ben Hunt back to 9? I'd be really apprehensive about it.
What they're doing now is working.
If anything, I'd put Reynolds to 7, probably Benny Hunt to 6, and Billy Walters back to 9.
These are good problems to have for Michael Maguire.
Yeah.
Though. You talk about the amount of depth that you have, and they've got plenty.
I know. And now, those who are listening on the radio through the SEN app and our live our network, please, plenty more to come as a countdown to kick off between the Warriors and the Panthers. And for our TV viewers, it's time to say goodbye because you're going to cross now for the NRLW action, which is the Brisbane Broncos, who are first place, so they're hosting the North Queensland Cowboys, and that's coming up next. So for our SEN listeners, we're still here before we say goodbye for the first week of the finals, and good luck to the Gold Coast Titans, NRLW, trying to get that 6th position, and also the Brisbane Broncos. We were saying earlier, they finished second after the Roosters have won every game this year, 11 out of 11, and they're going up against the 3rd place North Queensland Cowboys, and the Cowboys are paying $9 in a 2-horse race.
I wouldn't touch them with your money.
That's unbelievable. I've never ever seen that in my life. As I've just seen our good mate Joel Sugar Cane just walk into the studio, who's going to be part of Crunch Time with yourself.
Yep, I'll be
Next.
sending on.
Crystal ball.
Yes.
After this weekend's NRL Finals, what are we going to? What's some of the headlines that we may see? I'm going to okay. While you think about it, because you're a creative man. I mean, what a lot of listeners won't understand is that the journos actually don't come up with the headlines, do they? The editors do, don't they?
Well, actually, this is a very convenient excuse that journos have used for a long time.
Yep.
That was true for like forever and a day.
So you're doing it
and
right
recently, what happens now is when you put your story into the special shell,
Yep.
we have to put a headline in.
Oh, really?
So that whole excuse,
Okay.
and it does get changed. Sometimes if we don't come up with a good one, they'll put in something a bit more salacious, like a better sell, we call it,
Yep.
like because it's all about the tease. You've got to like have something that makes them click on the article and go through to it. But we can no longer say that hand on heart. A lot of the time, we do come up with the headlines.
So mine is Raiders rest up
So you've got them winning and
having a week off.
yep.
Anything else that you can think of?
Reece Walsh is going to do something that's going to be a talking point in the next little bit. Now, I'm not saying it's a toilet installation or anything like that, but he's just a magnet for, I wouldn't even say controversy. I think that was such a storm in a teacup, that whole thing about the toilet water or whatever else. But I reckon he's just a big name,
He's
and
a
we're
walking
coming up to
headline,
coming
either
up to the big time of year
Yeah.
where all the big games are played. So something's going to happen in that space.
Absolutely. Sats, Andrew from Mackay again. The AM bar is long gone, unfortunately. Not sure if you remembered, but we saw you a few years ago at the Octagonal Bar at Randwick, where you and Peter Basaltis were there on Grand Final weekend. Yes, we were. I remember that now. Yeah, thanks, Andrew.
The Octagonal Bar.
I don't know what state I was in.
You know what was really funny, Sats? Like watching Joe Chan,
Yes.
play first grade or whatever
Yeah.
else. So I remember Alex Chan, just a stone's throw away from here. We had the Berry Street. There was
Yep.
like a nightclub, and he was the doorman there, and
While playing.
while playing. So I reckon there are a couple of times where he might have just said, "Mate, you're ready to go home."
You know what?
champion."
He had a lot of fear about him as well,
Oh,
Alex Chan.
he didn't have to ask you twice.
No, exactly. Hey, we were asking throughout the show players that just didn't look right in jerseys. My first one was Glenn Stewart.
Yeah.
And even Kat, she came in earlier on and she said, Latrell in a Roosters jersey. I only see him in a South jersey now. Well, she's a mad South fan, but she's saying seeing Latrell in a Roosters jersey it doesn't look right for some reason.
He did win a couple of comps at the
did.
club, so it's those ones that sort of those transient ones. Like Adam Dykes is like a Cronulla bloke, and then he goes to Parramatta, and then he goes back to Cronulla. It's like
I know.
it just felt wrong.
Yeah. I used to wish McBunny says Scott Sattler in a South jersey. I could have done it a few times, but I decided against it. Now, some other players. We had a lot of votes for Petro in a Penrith jersey.
Yep.
Daly Cherry Evans in a Roosters jumper. Well, we haven't seen that yet. 130.
Get your head around it, guys. I think it's going to happen.
Now, I think he's going to coach. I think he's going to play.
Yep. When you say coach, you mean coach at the Roosters or
At the
coach-
Roosters.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I think he's going to coach. Paul Carriage in a Para jersey. Bob McCarthy in a Bulldogs jersey. Yeah, Bobby McCarthy never looked right in a Bulldogs jersey. He went back to South Sydney, of course. But 396, Paul Carriage, he'd be talking about that 1998 series, wasn't it?
I'll never Parramatta fans have got long memories, and we're still traumatised. We
I
wake up
know.
in a cold sweat.
I know. What about Robbie McCormick in a Hunter Mariners jersey? I don't think many people would have Hunter Mariners jerseys anymore, would they?
That'd be a collector's edition now.
Smith in a Storm jersey, Muzzer says. Should have been a fluoro yellow Yui jersey. And Rooster Muzzer just texted me and said, turn it up, Worm. The Broncos aren't first place. My hens are. That's what I said. The Roosters are the first. The Broncos are second, playing against a third-place team. Clean your ears out, Rooster Muzz. You muppet.
Against the third-placed, distant outsider.
Yep. Ron Coote, did he play for South? Pedro says. Pedro,
Correct him on
you know he did. And he won 4 comps with South Sydney. He won 2 with your Roosters.
Is that the one that probably hurts the most? Like seeing Roosters in South gear and South in Roosters gear.
Absolutely. It's like Angus Crichton going from South to the Roosters. It was like Joseph Suaalii as a junior going from South to the It's like Matt King going from South coaching to the Roosters as well.
Wow. Yes, that's true.
So a lot of the South oldies, like when they used to get together, the ones that are still alive, my old man used to tell me when they used to get together and have lunch, one of the go-to jokes was, "What are you doing here, Cootie?" Yeah, you're actually more a Roosters man, because when he retired, obviously he's been very successful business-wise with McDonald's.
Yep.
And Roosters do expose you to success post-career, so he tries to identify more with Roosters, they believe.
So it doesn't really matter where you've been your whole career. You just want to finish at the Roosters for all of the extra fringe benefits.
We all know that Ron Coote would have been a Rooster to start with, but you guys changed the boundaries and the import rule. Oz the Shire Rooster says, yeah. Hey, thanks for all your input throughout the day. It's been amazing. We love your calls. Jake from, where was he from? He was from Quakers Hill. Thanks for calling us, and all the text messages as well. Still plenty more to come. Crunch time with AP and Sugar, and then their live SEN League coverage of the games this afternoon and tonight as well. Have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy your rugby league. We'll see you again through all the shows throughout the weekend, throughout the week, and again next Saturday on Saturday League Kickoff.